5 o'clock, I will call the Richland County Executive and Finance Standing Committee to order. Roll call, Mr. Kalish.
Yes. Carroll.
Here.
Schoonover. Here. Manny.
Here.
Gill.
Here.
Westburner. Berg.
Here.
Frank. Williamson.
Here.
Louis. Haviland.
Okay. Agenda, verification of open meetings law compliance.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting is
Properly posted.
Yes.
Agenda approval, there will be one change. We are going to scratch item 13. Item 13 will be scratched for tonight. So we're down to a 20-point agenda of Mr. Manning make the motion, seconded by Mr. Schoonover. All those in favor of approving the agenda with one scratch signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Approval of minutes from the July 8th meeting. Everybody take a little bit of time and look at them in your packets. If there's no corrections or changes as they are presented, I will stand them as approved as presented. Nobody has anything? All right. Public comment. Item number 6. Shirley has got a form for me. Go ahead, Shirley.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's in regard to agenda item number 10, which is amending the handbook to allow for 2 additional holidays. I'm not opposed to adding additional holidays. I think it's really important that we have a fair and reasonable compensation and benefit package for all of the employees. I am concerned though about in the resolution, the 4th whereas statement that reads something like adding 2 holidays would be a low to no cost benefit. I think that could be a true statement if there was no productivity happening on the 2 days that would now become a holiday, that it would be a neutral impact to the overall base pay, but it doesn't take into consideration the work that's being done by the employees on those 2 days and the value that residents or taxpayers of Richland County may perceive happening. So if I'm waiting for something really important and now it's going to be 2 days later or a day later, that's impact to the residents of the county. It also could have an impact if there's actually work that's needed to be done on that holiday, like maybe roads need to be plowed or something else that's critical that needs to be done. If I understand the handbook correctly, it says that on holidays that are worked, the employer receives holiday plus time and a half. So that could also be an impact to the finances of the county. So my recommendation and request is that when you're considering that, you take that into consideration, the 4th whereas statement, because I don't believe it's a true statement to say that 2 holidays would be a low to no cost benefit. I think that there are financial impacts, and I think there's also cost to the residents and taxpayers. Thank you.
Thanks, Shirley. Moving on, any other public comment in the room or anybody online? Public comment? Okay. Reports, item 7A, administrators report.
All right, so I think the most exciting news that we have is that we have hired a finance director. Leanna Pick started yesterday, so we're really excited to have her here. She has had most of her history in the corporate world and is excited to jump into the public sector, and we're very excited to have her. She has jumped in and already sent me a project of something she worked on, so I'm very excited about that. In the admin documents folder, you will find the 2026 through 2028 capital improvement plan. We did add that in there. If you have any questions about that, just let us know and I will sit down and go over it with you. We have merged the payrolls of Sheriff, Simons, Courthouse, and HHS all into one payroll. So we currently have 3 separate payrolls. We're working to get it down to 2. As you recall, at one point in time, there was 9, then we got it down to 7. So we are almost down to 2 separate payrolls. So we're very excited about that. That saves a lot of time for them on the back end when we can merge those. We're also continuing to work on time and attendance in Tyler. All departments except the Sheriff's Department of Pine Valley will be using Tyler to clock in and out once we go live. And that should be in October. I want to take a moment to say thank you to many of the staff at ambulance and some of the on-call staff. In the last couple of months, there have been some that have taken on a lot of extra hours, a lot of extra shifts. and their dedication and time to the program is much appreciated. So I do want to make note of that, and it's been a lifesaver, so literally, so we do appreciate that. And that is what I have for an update right now.
Anyone with questions for the administrator? All right, let's go to radio tower update.
Right, so, some of the updates, the installation has started, on some of the servers in the courthouse. Some radio equipment has been installed in the third floor radio rack. Radio racks are being delivered to most of the sites. And then there's some work on the alarms, and the DC plant wiring has started. Sites with room in them have the dishes placed in the shelter to prep for tower installation. Fiber work is being completed in Boaz, Westport, and Richland Center sites, and there's still some splicing to do, but nearly completed. The Yuba Tower site foundation, the civil work may be a couple of more months. One thing with the Yuba site, as you may recall, we had a hard time getting the location. Finally, we're able to get the location. They're working on it. It is not an ideal location. There will be a change order that will come to this committee for approval for a pretty significant amount, because they have to build, they're gonna have to build a retaining wall. It's gonna be pretty pricey. So that is a challenge that we have coming up, but we have the site, the work is being done. It's just gonna take a lot of our contingency funds. They're working on installing the antennas on the courthouse roof. They're working on shipping equipment. Most of the frequencies, actually now all the frequencies have been approved. And I think we're good to go there. And the anticipated date for cutover to the new system will be December 15th of this year. And like I said, one of the top challenges that we have is the construction of the Yuba site that is behind all the rest, and that will have a hefty change order. It will be about $250,000 that will have to be coming for approval. There's also potential change order coming from GenCom. When we've talked with our program manager for this, he really has some questions about that, so he will be reaching out to Gary at GenCom to get some clarifications on some of that. Because some of it doesn't necessarily make sense to us, so we are working on that. So that is the radio project update.
Questions, Mr. Carroll?
Whenever I look at public safety, committee folder, I never see these actual written reports that you've obviously got access to. They can be put somewhere on our iPads so we can look at it.
I can get this added afterwards. This is a report that Jason Marshall actually put together for me because he understands all of this much better than I do.
Sure.
But I can ask to have that provided each month, and then we can upload it.
Be great.
Further questions, comments in regards to the radio tower project? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, moving on to item C of number 7, Pine Valley Water Reservoir update.
The full report has not been given to Pine Valley yet, so as soon as we get that, which it sounds like it'll be next week, I can share that with the committee at the end of the month when we have our next meeting.
Moving on to item 8, discussion and possible action, 2026 preliminary county budget. Item 8.
Right, so we do not have a budget to present to you yet. All the departments have submitted their proposed budgets to us with the step increase built in. We have put the budget together, and at this point in time, we do not have a balanced budget. We have reached out to several departments, asking them to make some adjustments to their budget to decrease the deficit. We are going to be asking some departments to do some reorganization without cutting services. And I think that's the big thing, is we are not making any plans to cut services. This will really be a bare bones budget, but we hope to have no Band-Aids built in, like ARPA money or those type of things, and do not plan to use general funds. We do plan to use some fund balances in the non-lapsing funds. So if they've had funds that they haven't used over the years, we do plan to use some of those. And our next meeting for executive and finance will be on August 25th, and we will present the draft budget to you then. Any questions?
Questions, comments More to come at our next meeting on the 25th of August. Okay, thank you. Item 9, discussion and possible action, approval to issue request for proposals for the emergency services building roof. Item 9. There are things in your packet. Well, 9A, B, C, D. Hi, Barb.
Hey, come back, right?
Never left.
I feel that way some days. So the roof at the ambulance garage continues to leak. And I went back to research this. I know that it was brought to the county board. And I can't really figure out what happened. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like you received bids back in 2024 early. And there was a resolution that was prepared. I don't know if it was voted upon, if it was pulled off the agenda, but I can't find any record of what happened. So we put 2 patches on this roof, and in the last 2 rains, the water has literally poured into the building. Randy has been awfully kind and gone over and made attempts to help. Jason went up on the roof and cleaned out the drains, but it's not fixing the problem. The architect's venture was up on the roof. They thought it was from the vents on the sides. Both Randy and Jason have been up there and said, the vents are way over here, the leaks are way over here, this doesn't make sense. We really need to get the roof replaced because every time it rains and the water is dripping down in there, it's doing damage to your building. And quite frankly, the more water into there, the more chance of mold. We did have an air quality study done, came out great, and I'd like to keep it that way. So all I'm asking for today is to put the RFP out. Those quotes from 2024 are not valid. Put the RFP out and see what we would need to replace the roof. I don't think that we can consider anything until we have all the data that we need. So I'm not asking for money, just to put the RFP out.
Questions? Go ahead.
So if it was approved by the county board in 2024, was funds allocated for that? Do we know?
I can't find that it ever got approved.
Yeah, it didn't go, it was not approved, first time with that.
Yeah, it
first
looks
day.
like from what I could find, it was approved last year to get bids
Correct.
with the hope of doing it as part of a capital improvement
Correct.
plan for 2025. And we went and looked and it was never a 2025 capital improvement request.
Okay, that makes more sense.
At the time this was all happening was the time Mike came, the time Amber left, and my guess is it just got lost in the shuffle of changes that were happening.
So at this point, it's approval to get the bids, and figure out what you need to do. I see why you wouldn't do that. You need a motion on that. I would.
Mr. Carroll got a comment?
First, who's going to generate the RFP?
I am hoping to use the RFP that we had from last time and just update the dates. Basically, the project hasn't changed. The needs haven't changed. So the wheel is already created, if you will, and we'll just go ahead and use that.
Second question, I would ask that the actual RFP itself be put in our iPads as well as the actual quotes that are received. The information I'm seeing from the last go around, all we have is just the bottom line dollars, contractor, but not their actual written quote. So this time, let's get them all in there.
And we could definitely do that. We just wanted to have at least the dollar sign in there so we have an idea of where it's at, because we knew none of the quotes would be valid anymore. And the RFP that was used last time is in the folder, and that's what Barb is planning to update and just change the dates and use the same thing. It should be,
Yep.
9, no, that's not that one.
Thought I put it in. I thought I had sent it over.
Plus 9B.
That's that one there, yeah.
Which one?
9B.
9B, I believe. Yeah, 9B.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Further questions, comments in regarding the ambulance building?
Seems like I remember we discussed having the issues with that flat roof, that we were going to put a pitch roof on it. There was some money held back, if I remember right, because there was an issue right off the get-go. on this.
There was $10,000 that was paid by REC when we purchased the building. You are correct. But that $10,000 was utilized to place the 2 repairs on it, I do believe. As far as I can tell, to repair it twice. That money is gone.
Right, but then we talk about then the pitch roof.
There was discussion about putting a pitched roof on it.
I've just never seen a flat roof, you can patch it. Just never seems to hold long term. So, so my only comment is if we're gonna do it, let's do something right.
Yeah, I don't remember what the RFP looked like. I remember hearing, I thought they actually came back that the roof, non-flat roof was actually gonna be, came in a lot cheaper, I thought, but that's been a year ago, so. Let's see what they come in at this time. I think Bob had made a motion. Anybody else got any comments? Otherwise, Bob had made a motion to go ahead with this.
Right now, the project scope doesn't mention an alternate.
Are we thinking we want to look at that option?
Yeah.
I'll put it in.
Okay.
Just as appropriate grade to allow for drainage.
Further comments? All right, Bob had made the motion. Kirk has seconded. Any other discussion? We will use the or the RFP, whatever. All right. RFP from last time, along with asking them for additional alternatives for roof.
It says new roof, so that could mean anything.
Yep. So, all right. All those in favor of moving this on, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you, Bart. Item number 11. No, what am I at? 10. Discussion of possible action, approval of changes to holiday section of the handbook of personnel policies and work rules of Richland County. Item 10.
So one of my goals for this year is to update the handbook and to find consistency or put consistency in the handbook related to across departments. One section of the handbook that is inconsistent is the holiday. So there are certain members of Pine Valley and certain shifts of Pine Valley that have 12 holidays. Everybody else has 10 holidays because Sheriff's Department did catch up with most of the rest of the employees when they did their contract. So my request is that we look to provide 12 holidays for all employees. I did do some research on comparables. There are counties range anywhere on average from 10 to 11 is really the average. There are 3 counties that responded to me that have 12 holidays. There are 2 counties that have 13 holidays. But those are kind of where the comparables are at. Most of our comparable counties are at 11, but I am really looking to have consistency across all departments.
Comments from the group, or we can get it on the floor with a motion in a second and discuss it. I'll move. Moved by Mr. Gill, I'll second it. All right, discussion is open. Group? Thoughts?
So this is where shifts start after 2 p.m. at Pine Valley Manor on those 2 days. At this point, that's considered the next
But
day.
they get the next day too. So when I talked with Brittany about this and showed this to her, she said a lot of the other places that she worked, the second shift would get it like Christmas Eve, second shift would get it on Christmas Eve, everybody else would get it on Christmas Day. But they wouldn't get both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
So if it's for these 12-hour shifts,
I think they'll do 8, 10, or 12, I believe.
okay, so it's if it's a 12-hour shift, you start with, that could be, you start at 2 probably. If you start at 2 and go to 2 a.m., you're getting one holiday. In that case, it's Christmas Eve, or you're getting 2 holidays because you work both of them.
Well, you get your holiday and time and a half for that 10-hour shift you worked. And then if you're off the next day, you get just your holiday pay. So you get a holiday day on the Christmas Eve and a holiday day on Christmas Day.
We're working the one day.
Yes.
So if you work the day, okay, so you get the holiday pay regardless if they are or not, but if you are working on that day, then you get the time and a half.
Yes.
Okay, I can grab that, so I can get the sort of.
Yeah, Brittany said this isn't normal how they do that. So she said a lot of like these that are second shift or going to third shift, you'll get the Christmas Eve, but you won't get the day. This is just why we have it set up that way. I have no idea. Probably before any of us were here.
More discussion. I think we need to try and get everybody consistent. I kind of agree with Mrs. Welty's comments that there will be possible, we don't know. Initially, you would think there wouldn't be a lot of expense, more expense, but as far as the snowplowers, they're on call 24/7 anyway. They'll get their, whatever the pay is, they'll get. And same, isn't it, Bob, with the SO Sheriff's Office, those that work the holidays? Yeah.
Right, I mean, that's, I know that with the, it used to be with Sheriff's Department, depending upon what time you worked, you would get the extra pay for that work, but then you, so with the holiday, you could. Okay. Do we know how many employees this affects? I'm glad.
Steve, is there some union contract issue where the sheriff's union gets 9 or 10 days rather than 12, or why are they short?
Theirs is, they would probably.
I didn't change theirs only because we'd have to change their union contract to get them 12. So if everybody else got 12, we would then go back and look at
Redo the
doing,
contract?
yeah,
Okay.
doing an addendum and redoing the contract. So that's where I struggled with how to present this. Everything in blue is what's currently in place. So even if you don't make any other changes, I will be asking that what's in blue, and then the, on the narrative parts, the parts that were highlighted or crossed off, if those updates could be made anyway. An alternative would be to take one away from Pine Valley and give everybody else one, and then we're at 11. Because that really is more in line with our comparable counties. And that is another option that is out there.
Is there a timeline? I mean, if we say we wanted to get more information, I mean, another month or even next meeting,
Yep, because this is proposed to go into effect January 1.
January 1, so
I have a question.
go ahead, Rick.
At our next meeting, could you find out how many employees they actually do get the 12 days?
Yep.
Versus the 10?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, and
Because if it's only, you know, it may not affect that many people.
go ahead, Steve.
Well, another question, maybe harder to quantify, but just a rough idea of how many employees would then have to work that holiday where we would incur some overtime costs.
I think I could
The
probably.
ones I know would be,
Yeah.
we're already do the overtime arrangement, but some of the, I don't know about the other departments.
I think sheriff's, ambulance, and Pine Valley will be the 3 departments that will be required to have people working
Right.
on those days.
And I'm just asking, is there any others that might cause impact? I can't think of any.
Highway, if they have to work, you know, if they do get called in on those winter holidays, theirs would be impacted. Over at HHS, we do have people that are on call, so if they get called in, they would, but they already get time and a half, so it wouldn't have any more cost to where they're at right now. There's nobody in the courthouse that would work on holidays, so really is boils down to those three main departments that are required to have the 24/7 services.
Go ahead, Mr. Gill.
Yeah, I support 12 holidays, and I think we have to recognize the competitive workplace environment that's going on right now. And that if we can make our people happier and give them something that maybe others aren't getting, I think there's a real value in it. And I also recognize that there is a cost to it. That's reality. But I still think it's worthwhile to make our folks feel good.
So we're good with, kind of waiting until next meeting this month and get a little bit more information, and then we'll.
Need a motion to proceed. Motion on the floor.
We'll need a motion to postpone until next meeting. Mr. Schoonover, seconded by Mr. Manning. All those in favor of postponing until our next meeting on August 25th, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. We'll take care of it on August 25th. Thank you. Item number 11. Discussion and possible action approval of changes to the reimbursement section of the handbook of personnel policies and work rules of Richland County. Item 11.
So the next section that we're working on in the handbook is the reimbursement section. This is one that many department heads have talked to me about making changes to. Right now, the per day meal reimbursement is $25. That is pretty low. Standard rate for the state of Wisconsin is 10, 12, and 23 per meal. With the lodging section, we are starting to have more challenges with getting the state rate, so we did build in some flexibility there. So that we can pay a little bit more instead of making the employee pay a little bit more, and then looking to have mileage reimbursement at the IRS rate. The last big thing that this policy changes is right now, expense vouchers are paid through payroll, and it really should be an accounts payable process. So we are changing it so that it is through accounts payable versus payroll, and having it set up that every department use the same expense voucher, and it's all processed the same way.
Questions, comments? We can get it on the table to discuss. Moved by Mr. Steve Carroll, seconded by Mr. Bob Frank. We are on the floor for discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Carroll.
For the vouchers, are you saying that means a separate check?
Yes.
Okay.
Majority or all of our employees are direct deposit?
All.
All.
So you're gonna exceed the government rate by no more, right? When it exceeds a rate more than 15%, then it needs approval.
Yeah.
Good luck. I mean, any place that I've stayed, the government rate, I'm not sure what it is now, but even they have the government rate, but then they'll still add the resort fee on top of that, which takes this number all to pieces, so. Yeah. Good with that.
Go ahead, Mr. Carroll.
How much of this happens? Are there that many, travels for training and seminars? I don't have the overwhelming.
I would say probably every employee probably does 1 to 2 conferences or trainings per year. But we have land conservation, zoning, HHS, that travel at a regular basis for their job. So they do home visits, they're out and about in the field often. So I think those are the ones that it impacts the most.
What's the current state rate for lodging?
I think it's $98 at most places, and some cities are $110. And you're right, it's the resorts that are the ones that throw the whole thing off.
Oh, it is terrible, yeah. You see the rate and then they add all the fees onto it because then it's non-taxable, yeah. It's
Yeah.
Further comments, questions?
Mr. Chair, can I be
Yes, go ahead.
other side? Oh, awesome. You know, there is value to in staying at those hotels to go to the conferences that are hosting the lodges because they do have the networking opportunities and things like that as well. So it's not necessarily just the cheap room. It's you can, like I have the conferences in the fall and the spring, and I find an added value to stay where they're having those conferences because that's where all the other county clerks are, and there's value in that as well. So even if you stay at the lodging facility where the conference is, you can still only get the best deal that you can get, which isn't always the cheapest state rate, you know, so there's that networking value that is very apparent as well.
If there's no further discussion, I will call the vote. All those in favor of changing, what is this, resolution?
Yes, it will be a resolution that will go to full county.
Go to full county board, making the changes to the current reimbursements. And presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, moving on to full county board. Item 12, discussion and possible action, approval to accept donations, Island Recreation Complex, Mr. Mike Hardy.
All right, thank you. All right, just some simple donations to run by you. These were recommended for approval last night at the natatorium board meeting, up for your consideration tonight, and pending your approval, will be on to county board. So the offer by the foundation was replacing a treadmill with a new treadmill at $5,700. We had a treadmill that go out. It was old enough that our vendor had said that the parts are obsolete, so they can't replace it anymore. So, so this is replacing an older unit. Also, some miscellaneous weight room equipment. We'll be replacing some equipment in there for $1,000. And then the Pickleball Federation has offered to purchase 3 pickleball nets, which will be used in the campus gym. While we have it, portable pickleball nets, and would allow us to offer pickleball in the gym. So the total donations offered were $7,210. Again, this was recommended for approval by the natatorium board last night. This brings the total donations this year for the foundation up just over $50,000 this year. Last year, if you remember, they had $50,000, so this meets their commitment of $50,000 a year. They are going to have some exciting news to announce. I'm not going to bring it forward. They did announce it at the natatorium board last night, but I'll let them announce it because I know they're going on WRCO and Richland Observer. But we're pushing off a campaign starting later in August or in September, and we've already got a big donor set up there. So they're going to have some big news there, and they're working towards future commitment of $100,000 to $150,000 donations, and they believe they can get there pretty quickly. So that's going to be some pretty exciting news, and they'll be announcing that in a couple of weeks. So, so that's good news to hear.
Anybody with questions in regards to the donations? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to move on to full county board. Motion by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Mr. Schoonover. All those in favor of moving us on to full county board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you, Mike. We're skipping 13, moving to 14. Discussion and possible action, Richland County mission statement. 14.
This goes back to our training session we had with New Everett Group, where we had department heads, county board members, staff together in a room talking about, okay, what is it that drives us in Richland County? Why are we doing what we do? And the feedback from everybody was pulled together and compiled into this statement. And so the challenge at the end of that session was, okay, now what are you going to do with this? And that's why we bring it here to say, okay, what are we going to do with this? We want to look at adopting it as our official county mission statement. Take a look at it for those of you who haven't seen it and see what everybody came up with as we all put our heads together.
And there were 2 different statements that were presented. So there was the first one, and then they thought maybe we need to shorten it a little bit, and then there's the second one. So you will see that there are 2 separate options that are on the document. I have taken this to the department heads and their vote was to have the second one, the shorter one, be adopted as the mission statement.
I was just in discussion, or we can get this on its resolution, or else it's working.
What's that,
We
Dave?
have discussion and possible action.
Discussion, yeah, we can have discussion of possible actions. We can discuss without it. Carol's got a question.
No question. I like the second one.
Statement. I agree with Mr. Carroll.
I like to say, yeah, I vote yes to that.
Short and sweet.
There's popularity in being concise.
Yes. Get halfway through one and then you just don't want to reading.
Comments from anybody else? Otherwise, the consensus of this group sounds like we want to stick with the shorter version.
Motion on that?
Sure.
I will make a motion to take the shorter version.
Seconded by Mr. Manning. Further discussion on the mission statement. If not, we will move the shorter version of the Richland County mission statement on to full county board approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. Item 15. Discussion and possible action, emergency service department staffing request. Item 15. Ms. Barr.
So when I came on board and took a look at where budgets are and what the staffing is, it was discovered that they have budgeted 55,000 for overtime for this year. They're projected to go to 110,000 in overtime this year. The reason for this, there is automatically 8 hours of overtime into every week with EMS because you work 2 24-hour period shifts. But they only have 5 EMTs instead of 6. So what's happening is their full-time staff are picking up that extra shift and picking up and filling in, and you're hemorrhaging from your overtime costs. This is causing a budget problem. In order to stop that and to become more consistent with your staffing, consistent with your budgeting, you need to add the 6th position. You run 3 crews, you have a Kelly day. That's standard among any EMS full-time service. And if you put the other position in there, Derek, can you go down to the next? You'll see that the numbers reflect the 2024 budgeted. What was actually spent was 489 was what was actually spent. They budgeted higher. The reason for that is they're budgeting a huge amount in the paid on call. They're also budgeting a huge amount in the per diems. What I'm suggesting is that we take away from the paid on call. We're not actually spending that much on paid on call people. There are very few of us left. I'm one of them. To be paid on call, they're raising the roof on the training required. And this is becoming more of a career path. It's not a volunteer thing anymore. And volunteers are harder to find. With that, get your call covered at the volume that Richland County does. We do 1,700 calls a year. You're going to have to raise that up. So this year, we've budgeted 565. So far, we're at 346. That was as of June 30th. If we continue that, we're going to be over budget a lot. We need to be budgeting appropriately. My request to you is that we approve another full-time position to be effective immediately. This would have to go to county board. And that will cut the overtime out. I also will not be using the paid on call budget, so I can take the money from there to fund this. And I think that you're going to see a more consistent reliable call response.
I think the other thing to think about here, we've talked about, when it comes to my position, setting me up for success. It's also setting the new ambulance director up for success. Because what happened was, when there wasn't somebody to fill that sixth spot, Mike was doing that. The previous director was doing that. And he was on the road a lot, and he was running a lot of runs because there was the need to do that. We really need to have the new service director be able to come in and do budgeting, long-range planning, writing grants, requesting funds, program compliance, which a service director should be doing. They shouldn't be spending the majority of their time on the ambulance. Not that they're never going to go on a run, because they're going to need to fill in, they're going to need to help out, but their primary job should really be in the office, managing the ambulance service.
Mr. Carroll.
Is it on the table yet?
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I understand what these figures are in this lower column on the worksheet. I don't know what that is. 724,000. What's that?
Can you go down there? So this is the budget for next year that I have presented. And the other difference that I did as MIS department head, and I will continue to do as the ambulance interim director, that has what I perceive as proper budgeting. The county tends to say, Barb's in this position, she doesn't take health insurance, we're not going to put that into budgeting. That's a dangerous way to live. Because if Barb gets hit by a bus tomorrow and your new director takes full family budgeting or full family insurance, you've gone over budget without anything you know about it. So the reason that looks higher is that's full insurance for all EMS staff. Are you going to spend that much? Nope. But wouldn't you rather have the worst case scenario and come in lower? I certainly would.
Barb, is that number with the current staff or with projected moving to six?
Well, the problem is, which isn't a problem, it's a great thing. When I put this together, it was with the current staff with unknown people. I'm fully staffed as of Thursday. My last full-timer starts, except for this new position I'm requesting. So, and I honestly don't know what benefits the two new people have taken. I don't ask them. I don't think that's something I should be asking them.
Questions, comments from the group? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to move it on to full county board. If everybody's okay with Mr. Schoonover makes a motion, seconded by Mr. Gill. Further discussion and or comments as far as adding another position at the EMS. Mr. Carroll.
Barb, I heard what you said, but I'm still trying to understand. The 724 include the staff as you're proposing or not?
That would include all 6 staff members with health insurance at the family level for all staff,
Including the new one.
including the 6th one.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
So, yeah, it does show the difference between. Further questions? If not, all those in favor of moving this on to full county board signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
Take full county board next week. Item number 16, discussion of possible action approval to create and fill the ambulance service director position. Item 16.
So what I am asking is that emergency management and the ambulance services be separated. That we are able to hire a new ambulance service director. As you will recall, Barb is only on a 3-month commitment to us. And so we are in a position where we need to post for filling that position. I'm asking that we create the ambulance service director position. As we talked about a little bit in the last time, it really is important that we have somebody who really is dedicated to the service, dedicated to the grant writing, dedicated to program compliance, budgeting, long-range planning. And so I'm asking that we are able to have a full-time ambulance service director, and this was also built into the budget for next year. And there is zero levy in the ambulance budget for next year.
My question would be, and so the emergency management is built in the 2026 budget as well, separation?
Yes, yes.
I would entertain a motion to move it on if there's no discussion, or do you want to discuss it? Tell me your thoughts. Mr. Motion. Yes, motion by Supervisor Turk, seconded by their Supervisor Steamroller. Now we can discuss if you got questions. Basically, we've talked about separating. Go ahead, Mr. Gill.
How other counties do it, and how do they fund, what kind of salaries people and how?
We sent both of these to our wage study consultant to get them graded, and she has graded this one as the same as what it was previously. She said they still have the responsibility of the employees, the service. She said actually the emergency management is a lower grade, and so she brought that to us. So, and she does all those comparables. So I'm presuming that this is right in within that grade.
Well, did that answer your question?
I don't know what other counties, are they doing the same way, splitting these two certain positions?
The information that I have, there's very few counties that have ambulance service. I think there's 3 or 4, and I think they're together. But emergency management across the state varies. It's either the sheriff's department, it is on their own. One county has highway, they have ambulance. And those are the main options. There is a thought, yeah.
Mr. Carroll.
I've said this before, an organization chart would really help me. But does this mean we're in essence creating a new department? In other words, emergency would report directly to you?
Emergency management would report directly to me, possibly. I hate to say that because we haven't determined yet, are we gonna look to have it absorbed into another department, or is it gonna be standalone? So really that'll be one of our next steps is, does it go to highway? Does it go to the sheriff's department? Does it go to HHS, or does it stand alone?
Right, okay.
But we have budgeted as a 29-hour-a-week position,
Which one?
emergency management.
Further discussion?
Anybody that wants to work for that one position,
See,
has the credentials.
Well, and that may lean it more towards tagging it on with somebody else's
Right.
current position.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Bob? Pays really well. You're gonna get 12 holidays.
No, this is less than 35 hours. It's prorated.
All right. All those in favor of doing as we are proposing and moving it on to full county board, this would be going ahead with the filling the ambulance service director position. Get Trish the approval to move forward with that. Or do we even need to send that to county board? Yes. Signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. 17, discussion of possible action on creating of an ad hoc county facilities committee.
so this is something that started out of the campus reconfiguration. We really are at a point with that they have 2 truly different missions. One is really what is going to happen to the campus property. The other one is really looking at what do we do for facilities moving forward. And so they wanted us to bring this to executive and finance. Our proposal is that this committee consists of the county board chair, the vice chair, and 1 member from each standing committee. One thing that I have found sitting in on multiple meetings is public safety talks about buildings, public works talks about buildings, executive and finance talks about buildings, CRC talks about buildings. We really need to have that one central location to talk about long-range planning for our facilities.
I asked a question, Dave and I were just up at, it was a board chair and vice chair day and a half meeting up at Stevens Point, so I asked a lot of them. And it's all over. One of them's under their highway department, takes care of their building. The number of people that are building jails, I think I talked to 4 different counties that are Greene County, Portage County, I don't even remember the other 2, but so they're, because we're trying to find out, you know, all right, in Greene County, who took care of this whole jail planning? Oh, it went under the highway department because that was, they must have had somebody within the department that was good at everything that needed to be done. But did you bring anything else there?
A couple of other neighbors who also recently built jails, Grant and Iowa, have offered to lend their expertise to us as well as far as process and things like that, so we can learn from them.
We, some of us are on the CRC, Campus Reconfiguration Committee. Just to the point there that we do not, I thought and stated that we could not handle both with the choices and stuff that's gonna happen at the campus and our possible, whatever we're gonna do for remodeling, building, whatever within the county facilities. So that thoughts and comments from you guys?
Get it on the table.
Sure. Motion by Steve Carroll, seconded by Steve Williams. It's on the floor. Mr. Carroll.
Discussion. You know, I've been thinking about this a lot and I mean, with the campus reconfiguration, we have a timeline. We have some deadlines, timelines, urgency to it. This is, like we've said, it's more of a long-term ongoing need. I wonder if it might not make more sense to have Public Works step up. But right now, they don't have that much to do. And instead of creating one more committee, take Public Works, which you would think would be dealing with buildings and the infrastructure, and just put it back on their plate.
Anybody here from Public Works? Speak up now.
Well, after the lawnmower was broken down for 3 weeks, yeah, our biggest lawnmower. They've got a lot to do with the fairgrounds. They up and now they're taking care of parks. Even though they have, what, 1 summer helper, I think is all they have. I'm not 100% sure.
How about the committee itself? I mean, committees even debated that whether to meet all that through, and maybe this is the task they need to take on.
Chairman Turk, your thoughts?
Certainly could look at doing it that way. As Steve said, other counties have done it differently. We looked at, okay, how are we handling the campus and said, well, we can do it a similar way. And that's where this suggestion came from, but it doesn't have to be that way. I think we have the specific question of what do we do coming up here to address our most immediate needs, the jail and the courthouse. But it will be an ongoing long term. So you could even look at, okay, we do this for the short term thing, and then long term it becomes incorporated into Public Works mission and stuff for their committee to handle once the decision is made on it.
That role is not ad hoc. It's, you say it's ongoing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think put it on a standing committee.
One of the counties had a building committee. It was just a building.
If you're a big enough big enough county, sure.
Yeah, I would agree. It's part of public work.
We are skipping some meetings because there's not much on our plate too. At least it gets jerked around where I can't follow it.
So was that a motion, Mr. Carroll, to amend this to say designate Public Works Committee versus an ad hoc?
Yes, that's a motion.
Yeah, and then we can take it on, I'll second that. We can take it to full county board and get the rest of the board's opinion if we have a little discussion there, but Bob, any comment?
No, I think that makes sense. That's good. That's a good.
Mr. Gill?
Yeah, is it possible to bring in somebody with professional expertise on that committee as well, that could, like, I don't know, architect or engineering or whatever, that can provide some insights into.
Well, and even in my opinion, somebody to analyze, we're gonna have every building that's been looked at now, and they're gonna analyze that data
It's a lot.
and say, even though it's gonna be their opinion or professional opinion on what. You know we have to do something with the jail. Oh, we have to do something to improve the courthouse.
The other piece of this I was thinking about is that, again, adding one more committee means that many more assignments, somebody on the board's gonna have to go to these meetings, and this particular role is gonna have some very intense phases at some point. So I just leery of adding another committee.
Well, and when we're struggling to keep
Yeah.
board members.
Yeah.
And get them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I think, I agree. Any other discussion on it? Otherwise, we'll take it to full county board. It's
Vote on the amendment first.
the amendment, yeah. So the amendment would read to designate the Public Works Standing Committee as the, what do we call
Dealing with whatever this is going to do.
To absorb the county, the long range planning for county buildings.
it?
But he said,
Yeah. To absorb
Long-
duties of
Take
long
on
range
that.
planning for county facility. All right. Everybody understands what we're voting on? The amendment. Being Public Works says that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You want to vote? All right. Now we'll vote on moving it to full county board with the amendment as presented, and we just voted. All those in favor of moving it on to full county board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. We're getting there. Item 18, discussion and possible action, approval of fee increase for minor subdivision review certified survey maps. Item 18, Kathy.
Yes, so the current fee schedule has us at this certified survey map, when they turn it in, it's $100 plus $20 a lot. And then, and it was that the zoning department was reviewing these certified surveys and signing off on them. And, the person that we had hired last year, who's no longer there, said, I don't feel comfortable signing off on these, I'm not a surveyor. So found out that, had talked to, our county surveyor and another surveyor, and a lot of counties sent them into this plat review down in Madison. So then we were doing that, the plat review charged a fee, the surveyor would pay the fee, and then they would charge the person when they did the survey. Well, we found out last month that they will no longer, plat review will no longer review these. So then we're like, okay, we still feel comfortable signing off on these. I mean, if there's a mistake on the survey, we sign off on them, and now it's, we're kind of taking. So we talked with Todd Rumler, our county surveyor, and because we're, he's the county surveyor, so we gotta kind of offer him the first opportunity. So he said it would be probably $200 a survey with him to review it. And if he was the one doing the survey, you could either have another surveyor do it, or have another surveyor where he works do it. So we still have to work that out, but it looks like, and talking to another surveyor, it'd be about $200 a survey. We would be charged for them to review it, so we'd have to pass this fee on to whoever's getting the certified survey done. So instead of $120 minimum, it would be $320 minimum. But it would have to come in effect like as soon as we can, because we can't absorb that.
Move to approve. Motion by Supervisor Carroll, seconded by Supervisor Turk. Discussion. So if I bring you in on already CSM, it's gonna be survey reviewed again by the county?
Okay. It needs to be reviewed, like, so if, let's take Sean Walsh, he's retired, but he does a survey, brings it in, we would have to review it to make sure what he did was correct. We've been sending it to plat review to do it, so now we have to.
That part I understand, but if I bring you in a CSM, it's gonna get reviewed no matter what. So is there any advantage to even having the CSM?
Yes. Because when you have us bring in a CSM, say from Sean Walsh, and then there's mistakes on it. Yeah, you had the CSM done. People make mistakes. So then if Todd Rumler reviews it, it's like a second set of eyes looking over. And with plat review, we, every one of them have had, not every one of them, but there's several that they've had little typos that they've caught that I wouldn't have caught. I'd be just signing off on them,
So
so.
one of these actual see it sale itself. You still need a little bit of check on it.
Yeah, well, at least two I've done.
Yeah, and that's why we do it, then if it's not the person that did the survey. But
Any other further questions from the group?
How many of these, how many of these happen a month? roughly?
probably 2 or 3.
And well, almost everyone, not every one of them rezones that we do.
But a lot of the rezones that we do have them when they're splitting smaller.
That's when they're catching it when they. Yep. All right, if nobody else has any questions, we've already got it on the floor. All those in favor of fee change, doing that on the Polk County Board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Correspondence, Mr. Taylor, item 19. Future agenda, item 20.
Budget presentation.
That-
The budget presentation.
Oh, yeah. How many hours do we need for that meeting? Good. Everybody used to have it read and memorized by next meeting. We do have the budget coming up, and was there something else we were bringing back? Yeah.
The holiday.
Holidays. Those are two items.
There's the water out of Pine Valley.
Yes.
Yep. I think once enough on the radio tower, is that enough for you guys if we hear at the beginning of the month? Project, unless there's something drastic that comes up.
As long as we get the written version, right?
Sure. Mr. Windows, wait, yes, okay.
Yep.
Yep. Anything you need to add? Okay. Otherwise, we would adjourn August 25th. Does that one start at 5 as well normally? Manning.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Manning, seconded by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor of adjourning until August 25th at 5 p.m. signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.